Hi and welcome to my video. This video is part 2 of how to start your own publishing company, and the topics that I'm going to be going over today are creating your own logo and the importance of purchasing ISBNs and how to purchase an ISBN. Now before I get started, I just want to mention that there is actually a lot of information about this in my writing course, which will be coming soon to my Patreon, so keep an eye out for that and make sure you click to my Patreon to check out my How to Design Your Own Magazine course. I also want to mention before we dive in that if you like my other videos or if you think this video is super helpful, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and leave any questions that you have or comments about your thoughts on the video, because I love to answer your questions and I'm going to be doing a lot more like Q&A type of videos, so I'd love to have your questions and it helps me keep pumping out really good content. So first of all, I'm going to talk about ISBNs, and then towards the end of the video I'll talk about designing a logo and give you a little tutorial on how I actually do that on Canva. Now, because you're starting a publishing company, you're probably going to start out pretty small, like an independent publishing company, which I currently have as well. The main purpose of these publishing companies are because you're an indie author and you want to look more professional and be able to publish your books on places like Ingram Spark, which actually require you to have a publishing company or be a publisher in order to put your books on there and print through them. So all in all, it's just a smart idea to have one. This is also going to help in your future of selling your books, especially if you want to sell your books through bookstores. It's just going to look a lot better and make it a lot easier to sell your books through bookstores when you approach them as a publisher rather than a self-published author. Now, my first tip on buying ISBNs, and this is split between ebooks and print because they're both really different. So first I'm going to talk about ebooks. So when you're publishing an ebook, if you're publishing on Smashwords or Drafted Digital or Kindle, basically anywhere that you would publish ebooks, you can ask, like they have the options to put in an ISBN that you bought, or you can get a free ISBN. So always get the free ISBN because this just makes it a lot easier, and obviously it's free. The thing to keep in mind though is that I've heard that you can't use the same ISBN for different platforms. So say you published your book on Smashwords and use their free ISBN, you can't then just take the ISBN and apply it to Kindle. But I've tried this before and it does work, so I don't really know too much about that, so maybe just use your own discretion on that and decide yourself. But I have heard that you can't technically do that. I don't know what happens, like if you get caught. I don't know if it messes stuff up in the library system or what, but anyway, as for print, you can't use the same ISBN that you used for your ebook for your print book, so you will have to buy ISBNs for your print book. So in Australia, I do have a website where you can buy bulk ISBNs or one, so I will link that down below, and this is where I buy mine, but basically you can just buy them wherever. Just Google buy an ISBN and yeah, they're all pretty much the same, so that's fine. It's just basically a barcode and a number under it that helps people like bookstores and libraries identify your book by number. So basically they just type in the number in their system and the book will come up, or scan the number and yeah, scan the barcode so they can get the price on it. But basically as a publishing company, you can either buy ISBNs in bulk, and this will be cheaper in the long run if you're planning on publishing other people's books, or you're planning on publishing a lot of books fast. So say you're going to put a book out every 3 or 6 months, then it's worth buying in bulk. But if you're like me and put a book out like once a year, I just pay the $40 or whatever it is to buy an ISBN once off. You can also find websites where ISBNs are like $10, so just do your digging. Yeah, so you can get them cheaply, but I think it's like a couple $100s to buy like say 10 ISBNs. So it can get pretty expensive, so just shop around a bit and keep that in mind. Now, moving away from ISBNs, there were a few things I wanted to note under the umbrella of starting a publishing company that I don't believe that I covered in part 1, or I didn't cover well enough to the point where I was happy with how much information I gave you guys. So I just want to go over those things. The first one is that if you publish with Smashwords, you do have the option to publish as a publisher, which is a really cool thing. So you can assign your books to a publisher. So I have my own account, which I have control over my books, and then I've assigned them to Winter Publishing, which is my publishing company, and then we both have control over the books. You both get notified when you sell books. On your book it says that I'm the author, and it also says who the publisher is, which is really cool and looks professional. And you do have to register your business or your publishing house with Smashwords as a publishing house. I'll put some information in the info box on how to do that as well. But if you would like a more in-depth tutorial, please let me know and I can make that happen. On that note, on Draft to Digital, you can also put who your publisher is, and I'm pretty sure about Kindle you can do that too, but you'd have to double check, so don't take my word on that one. Now, the next thing that I wanted to cover is that you should set up an email address and a bank account for your publishing business. I think this is really important because if you're wanting to look professional, it's just a really good idea to email book companies and places that you want to sell your books from that email address, and just converse with people on that email address, especially if you're wanting to become a publishing house that publishes other people's books. Then this is really important. Now, as for the bank account, this is also super important in the way of categorizing your money. So I started one so that all of my earnings go into that bank account. So I'd put that bank account on my Draft to Digital, my Smashwords, KDP, Patreon, everywhere that I'm making income for my books and my author content will go into that bank account, and then I pay myself a wage out of that, or I use the money in that bank account to then pay for other author related expenses such as book covers, website fees and everything like that. So if you want me to do a more in-depth business related video on that, then I can, but just let me know. Also, when you go to set up your bank account, you will need to take your business number, or ABN in Australia. So just keep that in mind. I did talk more about that in part 1, so please check out part 1. Now, the next thing I wanted to mention is starting up a website. So starting up a website just looks really professional. Even if it's just a basic one, it's something for people to look at, like bookstores, for example. When you're wanting to sell your book, it's a place for you to sell your books. Or you can just have your own website if you're just using it to publish your own books and no one else's. You can just have your own website, like mine is nakariwrites.com, and on there I have that I'm represented by Winter Publishing. Don't do that if you plan on being published traditionally as well as self-published. But yeah, if you're just going to be publishing all your own books, then go ahead and put that. I'll show you what mine looks like on my website, but I do also have a website for Winter Publishing, and I go through Wix for that. So if you want a video on starting up a Wix page, let me know. I do have that on my list of videos to make, but if enough people want me to make it sooner, then I'll move it to the top. Now, the last thing I wanted to go over was designing a logo, and I will put a tutorial here of how I design a logo on Canva.
So if you go onto Canva and type in logos, it will bring you to this page, so you can scroll through and either pick one, or if you don't see any you like, I'll show you how to customize them or make your own from scratch. So I picked this one, so I'm just going to show you how to customize one of the already made templates. So I'm just finding my logo. I mentioned this in a different Canva tutorial, but you actually have to have either the free trial, which is fine because you can cancel it before 30 days, but to use background remover, or pay for Canva. And this is a great tool, it just makes your image translucent. But if you don't want to do that, I do go ahead and show you another option on how to do that online instead. And I will show you that in just a moment. So I'm just showing you how you can make your own logo now from scratch using Canva. So you can just look up any shapes, and this is how I made my original logo that you would have seen in the video. And it's on my books and on my magazine and everything like that on my website. I didn't use this exact box, but I used one of them. So you can try all sorts of things until you're happy with it, but this is just a quick tutorial on how to make one easily and free. So you can change the colour of the box to anything that you want. And once I'm done this, I'll show you how to make the image translucent online. So once you've downloaded it, that's the image that you're left with. And this is the website that I'm going to use to make the image translucent, but there's lots of websites online that let you do this for free, so just pick one. They're all pretty much the same. So as you can see, it's made the image translucent, and then you just download it, and then you're free to use it on any material that you want.
It is really important that you have a logo, and this is what's going to go on your books. It's what is going to go on your website, on your business cards, on anything that is related to your business, and it just makes you look so much more professional. Now I'll show you what mine looks like on my books and my business cards and website, but I have actually had my latest cover designer for my book coming out soon, Unbreakable, to design me a new one, and I really like it, and that's on the cover of my new book, and that's what you'll be seeing on the covers of my future books. So here is my latest release that I released earlier this year, Killers Amongst Us, and on the back here you will see my logo. And yeah, on my first book, Two Minds, I just redid the cover recently, and that actually has the logo on the side as well. This one doesn't though, but I've redone this cover recently too, just made a few tweaks and changes, so that will be appearing on the spine as well. And as you will see on most other books, well, all other books actually, it's really important to have the logo on the spine, just so when people pick up your book, they can see like who's the publisher. I've got a few books here just to show, for example. See, they're published by Random House, and that's on the bottom. It's also on the back above the ISBN. And here is my business card, and just on the back there you see represented by Winter Publishing and my logo, if it will focus. And then on my website here, you can see that I also have it at the top. Thank you for watching this video. As always, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment any suggestions that you have for future videos, any thoughts that you had on this video. Aside from that, I will see you in my next one.